So it's when you lose.
Yes, but not really. It's when you lose multiple times, but you don't expect to.
But I always expect to lose.
Yes, I know, but you're different.
Why am I different?
Because life has beat you down so many times that you don't know what a slump is.
Oh, so it's when life screws you over.
Yes, but when you don't expect it to.
But I always expect life to screw me over.
Yes, I know.
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, thank God. Could you help explain to Toronto Loqual what a slump is?
Oh, yeah, easy. In your 30 years of life, have you ever had a moment where you thought something good was going to happen to you? Yeah, actually, when I beat the Senators in 2004 in round 1. Perfect. A slump is your entire life since then. Oh.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for breaking me out of my slump. Low quality fans of a high quality Bruins team, that is a dub. Do you feel better? Raise your hand if you feel better. Look at you raising your hand. I can't even see you, but you're still raising your hand. I feel better. I should have raised my hand. I feel better. I feel so much better. I said it on the podcast, Short Shift Podcast. Check it out. I said it on the podcast. If we lose to Toronto, I said it on the last video, I think. If we lose to Toronto, I'm probably singing a little different of a tune. 4 in a row against teams that you really do want to beat. Not because it's important so much as you just got to know you're right there with those teams. The record is the record, and we've got great standings and all that kind of stuff, but you still got to beat the better teams to feel confident against the better teams. This was a huge win. This was a great win against a shorthanded Leafs team that really wanted these points. They want to close the gap. They don't want to play Tampa in the first round, and I get it. Huge win for us. Now, some of you more observant folks might notice something. The wall hasn't changed, and I'm going to explain this right now. I didn't change the wall. Before the game, I was looking at the wall. And I was like, here we go. Time to change it. 3 losses in a row. One of them humiliatingly bad. Time to change it. And as I reached for the first jersey, I thought to myself, what if this is a Moses moment? What if this is a test of faith? Right before the All-Star break, the gods put this test in front of me and say, do you believe in this team? Or are you going to panic? And I was this close. But I didn't want to be Moses hitting that rock, thinking he had earned something, deserved something. And then he hit the rock again. And God said, no. No. You got to believe that I'm going to help you. Kind of an intense moment probably for Moses because of all the desert stuff and being really thirsty and everything. I don't know if that was really fair, so maybe not a great comparison. But I didn't change the wall. In fact, I went the opposite direction. I took our unluckiest jersey outside of literal cursed jerseys. We're not going to get into that. Number 62, Oscar Steen, our unluckiest jersey from last year. And I put it on my back and said, all right, I believe in this team, and I was rewarded. That's what faith is all about. That is what faith is all about. 6-3-1 in their last 10 are the Maple Leafs. They're putting together a pretty good season, largely considered the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th best team in the league, somewhere in that range. Fuck them. It's the Leafs. Sorry, language. Oh my gosh, so sorry. A win puts them 9 points behind us, which doesn't sound that scary, but there's still a lot of season to go. And now they're 13 points behind us. That feels like a big difference, doesn't it? They're top 10 in virtually every category. Like I said, they're largely considered one of the very best teams in the league. They are missing Muzzin, Mete, Robertson, Austin Matthews, and Matt Murray. Samsonov starting his 7th game in a row. For us, Olmark starts, and he has not had one of his really great games in a while, and so he decided to have it tonight. We're slumping. going into this game. We are slumping. And I thought to myself before the game, this game should be won or lost off of who is willing to stand in front of the net and take the hits. I actually thought both teams did that relatively well while Bunting dove all over the place. We're going to talk a little bit about that. But you fix a slump by earning every inch of ice that you can. And if the Bruins change two things for this game, they stopped turning the puck over nearly as much, and they earned every inch of ice they got. The Leafs played a very good game. This was a much tighter game than the score showed by far. Lines are going to get shaken up, although they'll get shaken up throughout the entire game, so do not think these lasted that long. Pasta goes back to the top line. Hall and Krejci and Zacha are going to work together on the second line. Foligno, Coyle, Smith on the third, and then Greer, Freddie, Lauko on the fourth. That fourth gets switched around to have Foligno involved heavily there. Freddie goes back up with Hall and Coyle at one point. It just all gets turned around. DeBrusk is still out. Noshik's still out. Vinny Lettieri was supposed to play in this game, and he, on his first practice with the big club, after getting called up, hurt his ankle. I think it's an ankle sprain. He was on crutches. He did not get to play. Very upset for him. Lauko, on the other hand, had a very good game, and it's largely speculated that this is a showcase. He wants out, or so the rumblings are. I can understand that. It's frustrating, but it's a lot different than a DeBrusk situation from last year. Lauko wants a chance at the NHL. I get it. He wants out. He's very likely being dangled right now, and that's a really good showcase for him so far. Real quick, like, comment, subscribe. Nailed it. Discord. Guys, the Discord's so much fun. I love seeing new members jump in. Please join that if you like the channel. Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Let's talk about this game. 3 minutes in, and you knew immediately you were getting a different Boston team than you got against the Canes. You knew immediately. The Leafs were bending but not breaking early on, and Bunting is going to go 3 minutes in for holding. The Bruins had started so fast, so ferociously, exactly what we wanted to see. This is how the power play went, though, and it might be time for the memes. Pasta immediately turns the puck over. Then they come back in the zone, and Krejci turns the puck over. And then they come back in the zone, and Pasta tosses the puck out of the zone. And then they come back in, and Zacha forces a really unnecessary pass, which leads to a turnover. And the power play is now 0 for 13 in their last 13 attempts. Not great. 9 minutes in, Ullmark and Samsonov are trading solid saves. Let's not say great saves, but solid saves. But none bigger than a Clifton breakaway at that 9-minute mark that Samsonov just stones him 5-hole. This had all the makings of a goalie battle through one. It did not end up that way, though. 5:05 left. 3-on-1 turns into a 2-on-0. Picture. This did not result in a goal. They got in real tight, which was weird. But Sandin to Engvall in close. And Ullmark still had to make one hell of a save, cutting across with that right pad, flinging it over, stoning Engvall. That was one of the, hey, this is an 80% chance of going in because of how quickly the puck got across and where he's shooting from. And then 1:30 left of the period. Pasta flips the puck behind the defense, gets there first, and Samsonov with a massive leg save of his own. 0-0. Each team, I think, had at least 13 shots at this point. It was something like 13-14 or something like that. This, again, could have been just a defensive shutdown kind of game. Both teams able to score. They're high-scoring talent, but the goalies and the stick work and the just pressure in front of the net from defense was going to keep this one tight. But then the second period happens, and things start to flow in the direction of more offense. 5:32 in. Leafs. Great start to the period. They're pushing. Clifton is going to go for tripping. It's a really bad call. But hey, they missed 8 other calls on the Bruins before this point. Don't feel bad. They also missed a dozen on the fucking Leafs. The refs were atrocious in this game. And I promise you, if you were on the losing side, you'd be as mad as the Leafs are now. I promise you that. Both teams had so many missed calls and so many calls that were just let go or bad calls, whatever it was. Atrocious. This was one of the worst refereed games I've seen all season. Anyway, they're going to go to the power play. And they are going to fuck it up. We get a clear And Freddie, the dog in him, goes 160 feet to win the race to the puck, takes it down to the wall, pins it, pushes the puck up the wall, the right wall, coils there, collects, flings it over to Forbort. Great pass, by the way. Forbort, who's at the middle between the dots. And Forbort just goes mid-glove. 1-0, shorthanded goal. First goal for Forbort in like 30 games. Just nutty to get a lead like that. It's 1-0. Problem is, as soon as the penalty expires, we're going to go right back on the penalty kill because Grizz goes in for a hit on Kampf. Yes, Kampf's head was down. This is a gray area call. I'm actually okay with this one because I can see where the contact came a little high. It's elbowing, goes right through his head. I'm okay with this call. The power play goes to work, but we have a great clear. But we go for a long change. We have to get this change done. And Samsonov sees this, grabs the puck, flings it all the way to Marner, who's on the right side of our blue line, who skates in. It's a 3 on Carlo. And Carlo does what he needs to do. He stays. I could think he could have attacked a little sooner, but this is tough. He kind of stays to try to do his best to eliminate the other two. And says, all right, Marner is going to have to be yours, old Mark. All right? He could have tried to force the pass. I don't know if that's the right decision in that. Maybe Omark shouting from behind him like, leave me shooter, leave me shooter. Fine. Marner walks in and brilliant hard wrist shot low blocker. It's 1-1. Power play goal. It's a tough change, but honestly, that's a great play by Samsonov. Just an awesome, awesome play. 7:27 left of the second. We're finally actually starting to push back a little bit. Most of the second has been all Leafs. Carlo. Who could have seen this happening? We create some pressure in the offensive zone. It's a third line, but it is the Hall, Coyle, Freddie version of third line, which we like. And it's Carlo's shot from the point. Hall forces a turnover to get the puck back to Lindholm, and then he fires it from the high slot, and then Freddie retrieves it back to Lindholm at the high slot. Carlo, during this, circled down beneath the right circle, and Lindholm just sees him there and chucks in the puck. Samsonov bites really hard, comes all the way across, comes forward, gets low, and Carlo with a cheeky little chip shot over him. That's, I mean, not over his head, but like over the pad. That's 2-1. And your goal scorers so far are Forbort for a shorthanded goal and Carlo even strength from below the circles. You take those. You take those. So it's 2-1. We're going to the third period. It's the Leafs. We know that they can score. Austin Matthews be damned. We know they can score without him. Nylander and Marner and a third guy. I can name more Leafs, I promise you. I'm just all over the place tonight. Defensive zone battles to start the third period. In my head, I was like, don't give them an early one. In my head, I should have been saying, get an early one. Puck wrapped around the boards. It goes up the right wall, and Lauko comes in to pinch the Leafs player, gets his body around him, forces the puck up to Greer on the left side. Greer is going to take it up. Lauko's going to slide back over to the right, and it's a 2-on-1 just because of the hustle from the young guys. Greer has Kampf draped all over him. He's got probably a call for a hook if this play continues and it doesn't go in the net. Ref never raised an arm, but I can't imagine you missed this call. The ref's staring right at it. Either way, Greer just fires it hard and low, and it beats Samsonov low glove. 3-1. Lauko gets the assist. Everyone's happy. Not the Leafs or any of their fans, and they're at home, so I guess most of the people in the building are not happy. But hey, we're happy. And that's really all that matters, right? Right. 2:15 in, Simmons and Greer drop him off the faceoff. You might have noticed, 2:15 in, man, how long ago was the goal? Literally 2:15 in was when the goal. They dropped him off the faceoff after the goal. So Greer had to defend himself for scoring a goal, which feels weird. He then gets concussion spotted from the box, has to get pulled. I don't know if Greer knows he could have said no here. A lot of no's. Simmons trying to spark his team. I get it. It's a mismatch. Simmons beat the shit out of him. Didn't work out well for Greer at all. Greer did come back to the bench, so we believe he doesn't have a concussion. I love that they pulled him. Be safe. Make sure that these guys are not running around with brain trauma. I mean, to the best of our ability. God, that's dark. That's so sad. Anyway, it was a weird fight. I think Greer should have said no. I think Greer could have said no. I don't know if he realized he could say no. 3 minutes in, Martian and Smith on a 2-on-1. Pass doesn't get through. Down the other way, nothing wrong with this play. Martian and Bunting get tangled up, and Bunting, from his knees, screams at the ref and points at him. Now, earlier, Bunting took a stick up high and was bleeding, and absolutely should have been a call. But right before that, Bunting got a stick in the back while he's standing in front of Ullmark from Carlo and goes and flops down on the ice. Your reputation matters. Ask Bradley Marchand this. Your reputation matters. You're not going to get calls if you're flopping all over the place or if you're being a little rat, right? It's weird for me to call him a little rat. He's a little rat. We have the king of rats. There's a difference. But Bunting, if you go down in a pile with another player, particularly Marchand, and you scream at the ref immediately and point at him, you're not getting another call the rest of the game, bud. The rest of the game. It's not happening. He's also a diver, and I want to be very clear about that. 11:22 left. The Leafs finally break through. They're hammering us right now, but it's actually a lucky bounce that gets them the goal. They are on the left wall. They just chuck the puck into the slot, and Coyle makes a great play to knock it down and try to clear it. But when he knocks it down, it bounces directly to Yarncroc and settles for him, who is able to bury this. He just goes high glove immediately. Ullmark has no chance. It's 3-2, and everyone gets a little worried. Just a little worried. Coyle and Bunting go at it right after that goal. Each get a roughing 2-minute minor. So we're going to 4v4. They never touch the puck. Great possession. We're 30 seconds after that goal is scored, just about. Zacha takes a TOR of the offensive zone, passes up to the blue line. The defenseman then leaves it for Zacha as he circles all the way up, skates across the blue line, hits the brakes, shimmy, defender loses an edge, goes the other way. Zacha takes 2 strides into the high slot, and Sniper Rooney and cheese! This, I say Sniper Rooney and cheese too often. This was a Sniper Rooney and cheese. Glove side, top inch, posted in. That's a hell of a shot. And it's 4-2. And this one felt over. And it didn't even just feel over because, hey, we're up by 2 goals midway through the third. This team's real good defensively. Ullmark's having a great game. No, it felt over because it felt like the Leafs felt like it was over. I did not see a lot of fight from them after that. I really didn't. Anyway, we're going to score again. Shortly after, Pasta skies it for Zacha, who it lands under a defender's skates, basically, in the offensive zone. And Zacha's just trying to dig it out. And they're like face to face, you know, getting a little beard on beard action. And then they've got, that's weird. And then he's got the stick there. And he basically flings a shot on Samsonov from between the guy's legs. Also a weird statement. Bounces to the wall. Pasta is there to win a board battle. Pushes up to Krejci, who's coming late. Krejci sees that the defender that was covering Zacha has since come up in front of Samsonov to make sure that he doesn't get a free bid on the net. Krejci goes, whew, thought I was going to have to shoot for a second. Just chucks it to Zacha, back door, who's wide open for a tap-in. 5-2, Zacha goes back-to-back on goals just a few minutes apart. That'll be your final score. I feel better. I feel better. Who wouldn't feel better? I feel better. Game notes. A lot of this score comes down to Samsonov not being good enough. He could have made this one a lot more interesting. He was playing his 7th game in a row. I think there's excuses built in there. But if the Leafs don't get better goaltending than that, they're not beating anyone in the playoffs. But if they get good goaltending, which Samsonov has shown that he can do, then they're a really, really scary team. They really are. This is a well-deserved break for many members. But I do want to point out that we now have 9 double-digit goal scorers on the season. That's really good at the All-Star break. There's depth on this team. And you want to see it a little more consistently as far as lately, I guess, and see them win a little more battles, especially those hard-nosed ones, which is why I'd like to keep Hall on the third line. The Hall-Coyle-Freddie line, Hall wasn't scoring a lot of points, but I didn't really care about that. I care that they were winning matchups, and Freddie looked better and was scoring more points, and Coyle was scoring more points, and Hall was involved in some ways in that. I thought the line itself was a lot better, and although that means Hall won't be scoring quite as much, I think he lifts Coyle and Freddie to be scoring just a little bit more in that offsets. In fact, I think that's just better for the team as a whole. I don't think he has to be in that top 6. They're going to continue moving him around, though, much like they'll move Zacha around. It's just part of the season. You try not to let things get stale. Zaka, the extension looks great. The trade looks great. Everything looks great. I love having you here, buddy. I really, really do. He's given me a lot more faith in who he can be as a player. Truly. Lauco, good showcase. Really solid showcase. I'm really happy with that. If he gets moved, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But you like to see a young guy like that step into the lineup after a few months and still perform. So good job by him. All right, guys, it does it for me. Like, comment, subscribe. We've got a long break. That doesn't mean it's a long break for me. I do not cover the All-Star game because I find it miserable and I really don't enjoy it. That doesn't mean you're dumb if you enjoy it. That just means it's not my thing. So if you're one of those people that really likes the All-Star game and the competitions, awesome. I support it. I think it's important, especially for the younger crowd, people who really like it. Kids that go to the games always have great stories about it. Get some cool merch, too. It's just not for me. So I don't cover it because it makes me want to die inside. But there will be a trade deadline video coming out near the end of our break. It's time for me to buckle down and bring up 60 fucking names that the Bruins could be interested in. This will be a long video, I think. But usually people are pretty okay with that when it's trade deadline stuff. So we'll see how it goes. Go Bees!